You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Reign After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Reign After Show.
I love this song. It's so good. Like some type of stomp thing. Hi everybody! We're here today doing another after show for your favorite show, Reign. This is episode 5, A Chill in the Air. And I love that theme song, this theme song right now. It's just, I could just listen to it over and over again. It's epic. But let's just jump right into this episode, you guys. My name is Keetin Marchi, and I'm your host today. And with me is my lovely co-host.
4 weeks later.
I know. Woo, we made it back together.
I'm Fahnia Thomas, and also with us tonight,
Phil.
Hello, guys.
He's back. He's back for good, guys. I think he's just as hooked on Reign as we are.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I certainly am.
He's our local bash.
He's our resident. Yeah, he's our resident bash.
Our resident bash. So yeah, let's just jump right into this episode. A lot happened.
Yeah.
A lot was revealed at the very end. That the storylines kept unfolding. In the end, you're just like, whoa, everything kind of came untied. But I think the main issue kind of thing that happened this episode was Olivia, Francis's first love, comes to court. Not at the beginning when the whole opening scene happens and we see her in a carriage, we see this young boy kind of tell the carriage the King's Road is flooded, you need to take the path through the woods.
Right.
They take the path through and obviously that felt very fishy from the get-go, and that boy was very cute.
You like the kitchen boy.
I liked both the kitchen boys, but now there again is just one kitchen boy. But anyway, they go into the woods and their carriage gets jumped and people die.
Yeah, here's the thing. I have to start by saying my middle name is Olivia, so I'm not happy with the fact that her name is Olivia because I don't like her. I felt really bad for her when the carriage was being taken over by the pagans, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's a beautiful girl. But I don't. Oh well.
She's really pretty.
Okay.
Mary is like gorgeous. Like, and majority of her ladies are like gorgeous.
Olivia's cute.
Olivia's cute. Olivia's cute.
Phil, do you think Olivia's cute?
To me, Olivia's not as cute as Mary.
Yes, yeah, I agree with Phil.
And I mean, you just didn't quite know her motive and things like that. You knew she was manipulative, and obviously, as we come to later find out, she's with Queen. She's with the Queen and things like that. But I don't know. I just didn't like her from the get-go.
Yeah, there's something about her, and I think that's good casting because there was something not very likable about her and her demeanor, even though she needed help. I just, from the get-go, she didn't click with me.
Had I not seen the previews, then I wouldn't have known all of the backstory, like her and Francis and the Queen's involvement. So at first I was like, oh, she's got this, platinum billowing hair and these lips and like, oh, okay, and she's damsel in distress. So I was like, okay. And then obviously I saw the previews last week knowing that she wants to be a mistress, which, what are your aspirations? Like
these poor girls, like,
right.
Well, if I can't be queen, can I be a mistress? Like that's your next goal, mistress. No queen, mistress, right. Not a loving wife or
and that's
lady.
What you come back from. Like you're disgraced because you lost your V card to Francis. So that's what we see in the beginning. Then the next step is, okay, I want to be your mistress, and that's the same thing for Keetin. Like, she also wants to be a mistress. Why do people in this era aspire to be mistresses?
It's very confused. Phil, why do you think they aspire to be mistresses?
Well, in her case, I don't think she's not. I don't know. It's tough to kind of fully knowing what we know, understand where she's coming from. Is it more of the queen versus her? And obviously she has a fondness for him, and so she likes that aspect of it. But in the earlier part of tonight's episode, she thought her time would be cut short. You know, she didn't know what was going to happen at the end of this, and obviously the bombs that, you know, she could become queen. It's all they have, really. I mean, what else are you kind of going to go off of? And you know, in her case, it's bad enough when that's your only aspiration in life, or that's kind of what it can be. And now, not only that, now you're basically at the mercy of someone else. So for her, it's even worse. Well,
and I mean, obviously, being a mistress in this court system, like in some other kingdoms, it probably wasn't looked upon as nicely as it is here. I mean, Bash is recognized by his father, even though he is his bastard son. His mother has been sent to Paris on this glorious fashion trip, and so being a mistress is not all that bad in this world. You got the protection from the king. You are protected, and if you have any children, they are protected too, and could potentially rise to the throne.
True.
So obviously, we saw last week with his name
Thomas.
Thomas was going to be legitimized by the Pope, like if he had a royal to marry.
Okay.
So
that's like their buy-in to the throne. They're like, I'll just wait out and be the jump off until possibly something happens.
Yeah, my son could be king. My daughter, who knows?
And I was really proud of Francis in the beginning, where he was sticking up for Mary. Like, no, Olivia, I want to be with her. I'm committed to her. I'm down for her. I was like, oh.
I think Francis truly has such a good heart, and I love the way his character is being portrayed. He's so conflicted and everything, and you can tell he really just wants to be a good king. I think above all, above country, above Mary, above any of his friends, he just wants to be a good king.
He does.
Because a lot of people don't believe in him, as we heard in last week's episode. People think he's weak. They don't think he's going to be a good king.
And I think the queen is like hindering him from doing that, as we see, in this episode, that she's the source. She is behind Olivia's return, wanting her to get pregnant and push Mary out of the way. I just think if she would just back off, and I know Nostradamus has his intuition, but back off and let him make some choices and let his life happen organically. I think he'd be okay.
I mean, but we see her, Queen Catherine, we kind of get a little bit of a motive from her at the end of this episode of like, I didn't have a title, and look where I am now. Like, we can keep controlling the she was just a rich girl, and she ended up getting a chance to marry a king, and now has control of the kingdom almost.
With Francis, though, right now, how much power does he really have? He's slated to be the king, but right now, he's kind of going about his day to day. I mean, in a sense of actual activity, Bash actually does and accomplishes more things in a day than... No, it's true.
It is true. Bash is always saving the day. I've said it from day one. He goes into the woods. He's like, oh, what's going on? He gets the people that were slain in the carriage. He's like... Oh, I'm sorry. Those eyes. He's always saving the day.
We're going to get to Bash in a little bit. Pump the brakes.
Oh,
we'll get to Bash
so dreamy.
But so Francis, originally he's like, I just want to do right by her. I just want to help her.
Right.
Mary just wants to help her. Mary is so kind to this girl. So nice. It's like, you can wear my dress. Come hang out with me and my friends. Where Catherine is playing Miss Mean Girl over there. And then all of a sudden, as she's trying on Mary's stuff, this biatch turns to her and is like, he's my man, starts that talk. And it's just like, really?
This was straight up a Brandy and Monica situation with the boy is mine.
Yes.
I mean, how bold is Olivia to be like, he was mine, I'm in his heart, he wants me. That's a bold, she's got some big balls.
She does got some big balls. And I mean, but it is kind of sad, because I feel like she probably did have a chance to have a happy life away and, with this guy, new man she was married to. And I bet you it was Catherine who obviously spilled the beans, because he was the one who walked in on them in the boathouse. He said boathouse like 6 times in that one description.
I think that there was an incident in the boathouse. they found us
In the
boathouse.
That time in the boathouse, like that time at band camp.
You know, but to me, in terms of the way she brings it up and things like that, you know, I think it was more Catherine's manipulation because she knows how Mary will respond to those things, and obviously it brought up a conversation between Frances and Mary for her to say that she still has feelings for you and all that, and you know, it's like when you tell, right, the Inception thing, when you tell someone don't think of elephants, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about elephants.
Right.
So it was almost like that. It planted that seed into Mary's mind, and that, you know, from there it just took off.
Yeah, she did, because she was talking to her when she outed, was it Greer?
Mm-hmm.
About being the mistress of the king. And she was like, that's my necklace. I'm telling you, she is crafty, Catherine. Very smooth when she was talking to her, when like, oh, you didn't know your homegirl was sleeping with my man?
Yeah.
It hurts.
And also when she even walked out of that kind of the ladies in waiting area, when she walked out, when Olivia had walked in, she's like, now I never thought we'd have something in common.
Yeah,
You know?
that's right. That's right.
So it's Catherine. I love to hate her. She's very much, if anybody watches Game of Thrones, she's a very like Cersei like character. You just love to hate her.
I thought we would. I so wanted the alliance. It would have been great. We could have been killing people by now. But no. But obviously the twist was amazing at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to when kind of they get married, but you know,
I don't think that's ever if they get married, I think that's maybe season 2 or maybe like the season finale.
I don't know. We'll see.
Because we don't have enough drama.
I know. We'll get to more drama. So Francis then, you know, says, okay, Mary, like, I'll let her leave. He he's so mature about it. Francis tries to be so good. And he has that talk with Mary, and they're very honest. They're so cute because they're like, they're trying to be that perfect couple that talks about things and never goes to bed angry and just, you know, they're trying to be very adult-like.
With the communication.
Yes, very good communication. It's almost like couples counseling, every like scene they have together, and then they make out, and you're like, oh, look how much chemistry they have. They're adorable. But so they're trying to be very nice. Mm-hmm. Mary's also trying to be very nice. Then obviously Olivia comes and gets into Mary's face, pisses her off, which then Mary in turn goes to Frances and is like, you know what? She needs to leave. I worked out this situation where she can go to Paris to stay with this family. You know, let's just get her out of here. I don't feel comfortable with her. And Frances is obliging. Frances is like, okay.
Until
the biggest for me in terms of Mary, I totally understand it because okay, it was Frances who brought up the whole just the boy, just the
boathouse.
girl.
Are you talking about the boathouse?
No, talking about, remember they're in the hallway. I'm just a boy. You're just a girl.
Oh God, that scene.
No, but when you tell someone that, it's supposed to obviously imply that it's unconditional, no matter what.
Right.
And 2 minutes later, here's a condition.
Right. I think he was all on board and game until his second brain got involved when Olivia was throwing herself at him. Like, he was all for it. He was all Team Mary, like, I'm down, I'll send her to Paris. But then here comes, you know, lustrous Olivia, and it's all bets are off. Like, oh my God, he's thinking with both of his brains.
Well, I mean, and if a chick is sitting across from you and says, hey, you know what? We don't have to have a serious relationship. I'll just sleep with you when you get bored of your wife. I got you, bud. Like, come on. She stooped really low there.
Well, I mean, there's that. But for me, Frances and Greer, ironically, have a similar thing going on in the sense that they're kind of both questioning, obviously have to do what's right and things like that. But they also want to know, okay, what is true love? And, you know, Francis ultimately is much more conflicted because, you know, he thinks he loves Mary, but then how much can you really attribute? Is it love or is it, you know, is it forced love? Like, how do you know that it's true love? With her, since she kind of held no title, he knew that it was love because of that fact.
Yeah, that's a good point, Phil. I didn't think of it like that.
And also your first is like a big deal. The first person you sleep with, it's like, that's a big deal.
And they were both each other's first, and obviously she was taking a huge risk in, like, letting that happen.
Yeah,
so.
like, it's like, oh, they have your heart for, like, you don't know what love is when you're that age. It's like, oh, this is love. So I get that.
And she kind of looks younger than the rest of them.
Not as
Not as young as Aylee, who looks like she's 12. Like, every time I see her now, I'm like, oh my God, she looks younger and younger.
So she's the ring thief. And this is another one of, I love that we find out that Mary's actually behind her stealing the ring. And she's in on the joke, and she's in on the trying to play Catherine back in one of her own games with the letters with her mom. I love that.
Well, and I was so disappointed when Catherine did catch Aylee. I'm like, no, like these are Mary's girls. Like, I don't know. It is so weird that she's just like, I like to take things. I was like, she's legit a klepto. Like, she is an ancient klepto going on here. And it was such a weird scene, and it seems so unlike Aylee, because she's always seemed kind of like the Rock. She's not really into a loving, like, she's not falling in love with anybody yet. She's kind of just there for.
Wasn't that her guy that died?
No, that was Lola.
Oh, okay.
Lola's guy died, and then Lola became interested in Bash, and now we all know where Bash is going. But no, but Ayleen is the one that is like there, and she's like, you know what? I'm sent here. I am supposed to be Mary's lady in waiting, and I am gonna be here for Mary.
She's loyal.
Yes, she's very, very loyal.
I like her.
But yeah, Catherine catches her stealing this ring and like convinces her or blackmails her into stealing Mary's letters to her mother to let Catherine read, so Catherine kind of knows what's going on in Mary's head and can kind of play her more.
And little does she know, she's being played.
Mary is a smart cookie.
She is. I love that she's smart and she's strong and she speaks her mind. And I'm not mad that she kissed Bash.
I'm mad. I mean, she was wasted. She was wasted.
Blame it on the alcohol if you want to, but I
mean, it would be harder literally every time they show Bash, like just a shot of Bash, his eyes, I feel like they go in closer every time they cut back to him, and you're just like,
well, for me, here's what kind of sucks about that kiss. Obviously he wanted it, right? As he says, I should have been the one to do it. For her, I think she's just exploring an option. She may kind of have, but there's love for Francis.
Yeah, she loves him.
And so I think when her little boat of regrets goes off, she really meant that. Whereas, God knows what Francis has had in there.
Francis is probably like, I regret ever falling in love with Mary. Like, screw her. I mean, this is when we kind of see, I felt like this episode we saw, two of each of their biggest flaws. Like, Mary, like, obviously she gets she has like a temper. Mary gets very emotional, and she has a temper. She does kind of irrational things sometimes, drinking a lot, then kissing Bash. Where Francis...
Wait, a lot? And half this is the first time. She doesn't drink a lot.
I don't know. I don't know. Who knows what she was doing at the convent all those years, like, honestly.
Yeah, those nuns, you gotta watch out for them.
They drink lots of wine.
But I'm glad that she kissed him, because she doesn't back down to Francis. Whereas you saw with Thomas last week, it was like, I'm the man, what I say goes, you do what I do. I own you, you're my property. In a way, I felt like her kissing Bash was like, you don't own me. I might be here because it's arranged and we just got through a fight. I asked you to do something to get rid of this chick and you said no. All right, game on. So that's why I think it spoke to her being like, you know what? I'm not just a piece of property that can be owned, and I'll do what I want to do. Granted, it was alcohol induced. But we do things when we're liquored up because why? It's what we want to do sometimes.
Yeah, well, I really think, and I, as excited as I was watching the show to see Francis see that kiss, it kind of breaks my heart now, because I'm like, no.
Oh, it's good. It feeds the drama.
I know, but Francis is such a baby. He really is. Like, he's a mama's boy baby, and he tries to do the right thing, but he's just as bad as Mary with the emotional, side. And that's kind of, the struggle I think they both face, because they're supposed to be a king and a queen, these royals who are just supposed to think about their country, and that needs to be their number one thing, but they're letting love get in the way. They're letting, jealousy get in the way. They're letting all these other little emotions get in the way, where we see that it doesn't seem like King Henry, Francis's father, really lets that stuff get in the way. He keeps it very separate.
Right.
They don't know how to do that yet.
They're not there yet. Then that's why they're not king and queen as of yet,
Yeah.
because they haven't matured to that level. Let's talk about her homegirls. Like,
Homegirls? Yes.
the whole posse, they've all got these little love interests. I really
Who's your
like
favorite homegirl, Phil?
Who's my favorite? I mean, it's toss. I like Greer's storyline, but looks wise,
You
Kenna.
like Kenna.
Of course, I'm gonna go with her.
She's the one sleeping with the king.
I'd give her a necklace.
Wait, your wife's old engagement?
First anniversary present.
I mean, maybe not to that extent.
Oh.
I'd go to like Macy's and get another one.
Oh, okay. You're very thoughtful.
And
though.
she throws some shade tonight. She's like, I don't answer to you. I answer to the king.
Oh.
So even if I'm not stepping down, I will be his boo.
Okay, but I mean, honestly, I think Mary is just looking out. But
Oh, for sure.
I think Mary's the most hurt because she just didn't tell her about it.
Well, that and she's facing the same thing. Like, it's so close to home for her. Like, literally, it's in the room next door.
Yeah, you're. Oh, I just hit my mic. I'm sorry. She's like, you're doing because we saw them all kind of talking about the situation, and she's being very hypocritical about it. She's telling Mary she needs to get her out of there. Like, why are you letting her stay around? But then she's the one who's being, and she's like, Catherine doesn't care. Catherine doesn't care. Did you talk to Catherine yourself? I mean, I know that bitch is crazy, but seriously, did you talk to Catherine yourself? I don't know why I get like that when I talk about this show. It just seems so dramatic.
And she's in La La Land. She's like, he's going to get rid of Diane. He's calling that off. It's more than that. I mean, like you guys said, that's what they kind of wait to see, maybe if they could one day climb that ladder. But she's third on the rung, so I don't think it's going to happen for her.
I don't think it's going to happen either. But it's also funny to me because, as Greer's relationship blossoms, quote unquote, with this guy.
Kitchen boy.
Kitchen boy. I mean,
Kitchen boy is hot.
And as hot as he may be, the problem is, as soon as she gets an opportunity, much like Hannah, it's going to be interesting to see how she reacts, and because I think she's going to put on her, for lack of a better word, bitch face, like Hannah did, and now I'm with him. Sorry.
Wait, the Spice guy or the Shop Boy guy?
Well, she's trying to get Spice Boy.
Okay.
Shop Boy, she's using right now because he's all good, but yeah.
This is what I don't understand. All these girls are gorgeous.
Beautiful.
It seems like there's a lot of young men in the court whenever we see these wide shots. Why are they all having such a hard time? Is it because
they have to have money, they have to have title, they have to have a position. They're all they're basically old school gold diggers.
Yeah, they're I literally had wrote on this that who did I write? Greer is Greer's a social climber.
Yeah, I mean they're Renaissance
She
gold
take
diggers.
the money.
And also understand these are people coming in and out of the court. You don't, like with Thomas, he's from Portugal and things like that. So you don't know their history, and it has to. I mean, this is a whole contractual thing. It has to make sense for everybody. You can't just be like, oh, hey, you're a hottie. I got some money. Let's do it.
This is what I want to know, and maybe some of our viewers can clear this up for us. You can go on AfterBuzzTV.com. You can
the website.
Rate. You can comment. You can watch us live, or you can watch us. You can click a link and go to our YouTube page as well. Also go to iTunes, rate
buddy.
and download us as well.
Give us your feedback. We'd
yes,
like to know.
We do want to know. We want to know what you guys want to talk more about and hear us talk about.
Or talk less about.
Yeah. But
it helps us because it's a new show. And
yeah, absolutely. And I completely forgot my train of thought that I was going on with that of what to comment.
We were talking about the ladies.
Yeah, well, tell us about the ladies and who you...
I think knowing our
remember.
demographic, why don't you go ahead and talk about the males?
Let's talk about the boys.
Not my favorite subject, but I also know the demographic of this audience.
But girls like to talk about other girls, like what they're wearing, what they're doing, if they're sluts,
Yeah. This show, it does feel like a Gossip Girl type thing. Like whenever I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh my god, no, she didn't.
I
like,
totally
oh my god.
thought about that when she had on that white ensemble when Olivia first came into court where they're all hanging out. Like that would have been like the steps of the private school in Gossip Girl.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I totally thought because the costume and the outfits are to die for. Like
Yeah, last week we talked about it's Gossip Girl mixed with Game of Thrones.
oh. First, hands down, they're
And,
killing it.
You know, and speaking of killing it, in the Game of Thrones is like similarities as well. Lots of blood, a lot more like kind of shots of like people with. I was like I'm very unexpected. You know, shots
I wasn't ready for the gore and the blood in the eyes. Like I was like, whoa.
Well, before I do want to talk about Greer a little bit more, only because no, because it's funny to me.
Phil wants himself some Greer.
You know what? Not my type.
Really?
Just saying.
Yeah,
but
he loves Kenna.
it's true. She could be my. I'm a titled man.
So would you if you and Kenna like you know were in the same kingdom and you knew she was sleeping with the king, would you be like, okay, as long as you can be my wife and sleep with me every once in a while, would you be okay?
We wouldn't do once. No, that'd be like. After that, it's exclusive.
Yeah.
Past indiscretions aside, now we're exclusive. However, okay. So going back,
Greer.
going back to Greer, you know, I really enjoyed how, again, it's just a toss-up of who you love versus what you must do, and she just, honest to God, hates peppers. And it's funny, you know, they're getting, I think, that what are they reading, the Iliad or something like that, because they're talking about Troy.
Yeah.
And so it's just funny. Yeah, we all know how the story ends. And even though she doesn't want to talk about peppers, it is actually on her mind. So I found that interesting. So she could find a liking to Pepper Man, but for now, obviously, Shop Boy is her.
So she'll be doing the opposite. She's like the guys sort of in this situation. She's going to stick with Pepper Guy because that's where the money and the title is at and her family needs that. But her heart is going to be with the Shop Boy. So that'll be you said it while we were watching. What's the male version of a mistress?
A mister?
It's
gigolo.
A gigolo is a male prostitute.
Oh.
Right?
Well, that's what he kind of is.
She's just not paying him.
Well, that sucks. That's lower than a prostitute.
He's paid in sex.
I don't think. Okay, well, Greer just had her first kiss. Like, just had her first makeout. I feel like sex for them is a little down the line. I don't know.
Not for Kenna.
No. Well, Kenna, episode 1, Kenna obviously is very in tune with her sexuality and herself.
Yeah, and meanwhile,
she was just waiting to get laid.
Yeah, she did throw herself at the king. Meanwhile, Lola is just as sweet as pie. I like her.
I missed Lola this episode. I was excited for her last episode where we
Yeah.
saw a lot of her and Bash, and I was like, oh, that's a good match. And that's what I wanted to say is, do you think like Bash is a good catch for these girls? Like, is he titled enough or no?
No.
Like, do they really want to be with the bastard son of the king?
No. Bash is that bad boy that you lust for and that you know is wrong for you.
No, but like, would he be a good social climb if they married him?
No, he has no title or no money or.
Where would he go? To the pagans into the woods? Yeah, he's got nothing going on.
I think he has a connection with those pagans. We'll talk about that in predictions.
Ooh,
but
okay.
I think he has a much deeper connection.
Should
with
we
them.
talk about Bash and the pagans?
We can talk about
what's
Bash
cracking
and the
with that?
pagans. Well, I mean, the big thing about Bash this episode was that him and Mary made out. And oh my god. Bash.
Well, I like, you know, I think it was 2 episodes ago. Remember when Francis says we lied to each other no more?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And tonight, obviously, not that lies were told, but obviously that's what was spoken of when they had their little talk. And Sebastian just went for it. Like, I should have been the first one.
He did, and I thought at the end when they cut to the person on the ledge, I thought that was Francis.
I did too. I wanted them to talk about it.
So Bash has yet to come out to him. Maybe he will tell him the truth. Maybe he'll tell him what happened. But he is slaying the pagans. And I love that. I love that he's like the strong, muscular one that's like not afraid of the dark woods and, you know, he's fighting back.
I am kind of angry that he healed so quickly. Like last week, like he was like, he tried to like hold a sword and like got kicked and his like wound got opened up again. And like all of a sudden this episode, he's like slaying,
It just goes to show how strong he really is.
Oh,
and also time could have gone by. However, in terms of Francis and Bash, and we can certainly talk about the pagans, but in terms of them, what I like how they're building it to kind of have them go at it, because remember, Francis confronts in tonight's episode Bash and says, hey, how much did you tell her, and all these things, and he's very accusatory of that. So we're headed somewhere. We're headed for a convergence. And by the way, I want to mention this because I thought it was funny. The Regrets little boats, how they went off in 2 separate directions for Francis and Mary.
You're our own little Nostradamus back there. Yeah, that's a telltale sign of what's to come. The separation of both of them. I do like how the brothers are quarreling. I like that conflict, and it's like, even though honestly, if there were to be a fight between Francis and Bash would totally win.
Bash would bash his face in. Like, let's be honest.
But I do like that, go on, stand up for yourself. Like, it's okay, Francis.
I really think Bash crossed the line, though. Like,
he did.
Bash knows. He
They
knows
both
their
did.
relationship is on the rocks. He knows they're just kind of getting it back together. And so the fact that he went in again after Mary drunkenly kissed him, I think that shame on you, Bash. Shame on you.
He had that line where he says, this is the part where I should probably tell you to stop drinking.
Yeah,
So
he did.
He was aware, yeah, by all means.
And he's honest. He said, I'm a flirt. Like, he you know what?
But that wasn't honest, because he said he flirts with everybody.
Lies!
That is, I flirt with everyone. Here's the thing. He knows his place. He knows he's the bastard son. Like, what does he have to lose, really? Like, he has nowhere to go up. So it's like, you know what? He's balls to the wall. He does what he wants to do. And I know it was wrong for the both of them to kiss, but it looks so good. I liked it.
It was wrong, and I blame Bash for it. I don't blame Mary for it. So I think it's wrong for Francis to be pissed off at
Wait, Mary kissed him first.
I know, but she was drunk.
No.
drunk.
No. And then
I'll argue with you.
I think a lot of people are going to be on your side as far as being mad at Bash because he's bringing the devil into the kingdom, even though I think he was already there in Catherine, but that was my own opinion.
Catherine's obviously working with the pagans. If she was the one who got that carriage off, to go off the King's Road to be...
Okay, wait, was that
wasn't Catherine.
No, I think it was I think the whole plan was just for them to come into town. Then it got complicated because now the pagans got involved.
Right.
I don't think that was part of the plan. It just actually helped Catherine's plan because now there's the sympathy card.
Right.
But by no means was she that intricate.
She's not that good. It's the creature in the cave that needs the fresh blood that made them go into the woods.
Rain is all of a sudden turning into Once Upon a Time. Like, what is this creature in the woods? Like, what is this, fairy tale stuff that's going on?
I kind of like it. Like, I miss my ghost girl. I like her.
We didn't see, Cecilia?
Clarissa?
Wow.
Yeah.
Cecile.
Cecilia! I can't wait till we have that character.
It's like a 60-year-old woman.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see Clarissa at all, and I wonder if
She'll be back next. I think she's maybe every other episode.
Yeah.
We need to strike a deal. Mary needs to strike a deal and be like, okay, listen, you're going to go into Olivia's bedroom with this knife and do something about it.
I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you know what to do.
Yeah, get the marbles out and let's play. Let's play with Clarissa. I want to see her.
Or I just want Clarissa to haunt Olivia to the point where Olivia wants to leave.
Should we get into predictions? I mean,
Well, yeah, I want to talk about the pagans.
Let's talk about more pagans.
I mean, do you guys like? I really like this storyline. Obviously, we're kind of still just developing it, but we've gotten obviously hints here and there in the first few episodes. Obviously, with the language being spoken, and I don't know where exactly they're going with this, but obviously. It just brings an outside threat to everyone. Mm-hmm. Separate
Nobody's
of
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's true. So they have their inner turmoil with, the brothers, the queen, Mary, what's going on with the mistresses, but then there's this outside force that maybe will bring them all together because there's these evils that are trying to kill them and need fresh sacrifices. We saw at the end that, Bash was told he has to pick someone to sacrifice or they'll choose.
And
choose Olivia.
Yeah, right? That's a perfect way to do, but...
I wrote that down. Sacrifice Olivia.
But he won't because he wants Mary.
Maybe. We
So
don't know. He's a flirt. Wherever the wind blows.
I think that Nostradamus and Bash both, like, obviously Bash does have some type of ties with the pagans because he speaks their language. I think that's probably through his mother. So I think maybe his mother was once maybe a pagan.
You think Diane was a pagan?
I don't know. It just seems like it might be, you know, there's no other reason that he would know this language. I think Nostradamus also has some connections with the pagans. I think we're going to see Nostradamus get, like, really...
I think his connection is because he's like a witch voodoo doctor that can see, like, he's obviously dabbles in black magic, which is some sort of evil, because I think any magic is, like, not all magic is good magic. There's that, and I think, I don't know. Oof.
Yeah, for me, it was interesting how they didn't go this route, but where Olivia kind of, you know, recognized the voice, right? And he knew that he could have possibly been found out as he showed her to the wine cellar. And I thought that would have been interesting because in the sense that, okay, now if we want to solve this, Mary or Bash have to work with Olivia, who they dislike, to, you know, figure out who the guy is or whatever.
Right.
But obviously they didn't go there.
Well, and the guy, I presume, died at that last scene because he jumped off the cliff or the castle.
I wanted Bash to kill him. Like, if
I did too.
If
I
we're gonna
wanted
do
him
anything, let's kill him.
Yeah, it was too 21st century for me with him taking his life, like the suicide. You know, it was too much for me. But I wasn't expecting him to look so human. I was expecting him to be like some kind of pagan creature, not just your average Joe. Like, I wanted him to have character.
This isn't Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
Well,
this isn't Twilight. He's no werewolf.
Well, you think like pagans, and they're like speaking another language. We see them in their shadows in the woods, and they're doing sacrifices. Like, they're just.
I think
normal.
you're social profiling.
They're just walking amongst us.
I didn't know speaking another language required that you have to be a monster.
I speak Spanish.
Well, when you speak that kind of language, a pagan creature language, yes.
Okay.
No?
Just
Okay.
digging yourself a deeper hole, man.
In this fairy tale land of the dark forest.
Not a fairy tale. It's real life. No, it's not. This is so not historically accurate at all.
No, and that's why I love it.
Let me ask you guys this: in terms of, obviously Bash is kind of unafraid, right? And him and Nostradamus have, you know, kind of talked and what was revealed and things like that. And, you know, they're whereas they used to do this sacrifice, now they're luring people in. In terms of Bash being protected, right? This kid's gone. Everyone knows that they got to go after Bash. But notice how his guards didn't really want to do anything for Bash.
They were
so I just imagine for me that all of the guards will just give Bash up and be like, he's that way.
Like, sell him out?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think you're right about that. I don't think there's much loyalty to Bash at all, which is strange because I feel like he's kind of grown up with the soldiers and grown up, you know, because he hasn't been as protected as Francis. He's been allowed to play, to go into the forest, to train, to do all that fun stuff. So
well, maybe they will then, because he's more of a soldier than Francis. Like, he went out to, you know, warn the boats.
He is the fastest rider of court.
Right, so they kind of need him. He seems like he is the best soldier that they have.
But he's also ballsy where, you know, he's like, okay, we're gonna cut him down. He's still breathing. Let's, you know. So obviously he has a great moral compass. But by all the other soldiers saying, like, what are you doing? We can't do it. They obviously, I don't think it's that they have a bad moral compass. It's just they're very scared. And so when the time comes and you know, it's said like, hey, where's Bash? They're gonna say exactly what I said. He's over there.
Third room down to the
like,
right.
I'm not Bash. He's the one with the piercing eyes that way. Yeah, possibly.
So, I mean, we could probably get into predictions now because Bash and the Pagans kind of leads into the preview for next week's episode.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Ooh, I love the lights.
predictions.
It's very pagan-like.
It should also be mentioned that we have season 2 of Reign.
What?
Yeah, a bunch of our fans tweeted at us. So I'm going off of the fans.
Yay! Thank you, fans.
The fans know earlier than us. But thank
Don't
God we
lie
have
to
them.
me, fans.
We need you guys, like seriously.
No,
No, I think the show's doing so well that
yeah,
it
for
just
sure.
makes sense. You know,
And it has
it's too
been-
good.
Yeah, it's getting really good, and it's a new type of show that CW doesn't really have on there. You know, it's like a
Right.
historical drama. So I really like
Love
it.
period pieces.
So in the preview for next week, you know, obviously Bash is going to have to choose a sacrifice, or they're going to choose one for him. Obviously, it doesn't seem like he's going to choose a sacrifice because it looks like Mary gets chosen for him.
I want to know the rules of the sacrifice. Like, can I just be like, okay, take the servant lady that cleans every Monday? Like, oh, yeah, what are the stipulations?
Like, do they have to have a title? Do they have to be male or female? That's
Exactly.
interesting. My prediction is that Greer and Olivia are going to become BFFs.
Really?
Yes. I think they're going to have some kind of connection. They're going to have a mistress connection.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this whole thing with Mary being marked for, you know, to be the sacrifice or whatever, I think it's going to get because I think Francis and Bash are going to get a huge argument because he's going to call him out on what he did. And then I think they're going to have to join forces together to protect Mary because obviously they both love her. And they're going to have to, I don't think their little tiff is going to last long. I think Francis is just going to be like, yo, dude, stay off my turf. Like, let's get this, you know, let's make sure she's okay. And let's move on.
Could Olivia ever be sacrificed by Francis in order to save Mary in this conundrum?
I love that, Phil.
I hope so.
It's so sad that we're just throwing Olivia around like she means nothing.
She really doesn't. She's a pawn. She's the queen's pawn. So, you know, she can go. She can go.
Do you guys have any other predictions for that aren't related to the preview for next week?
I think Olivia is a storyline that we're gonna see for a few episodes, but I don't think she's gonna stick around for the full season.
No, I think people are coming and going. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the revolving door.
And then we have our constant people as well. I think that Aylee is gonna get found out, not by the queen, but maybe by somebody else, and it's gonna turn into another blackmail for her. So.
Oh, do Kenna and Mary stay friends? Does that friendship get resolved, or now is it further just different alliances because now you have the king with her and Catherine kind of hates her, but then Mary hates her. What do we got there?
I think, like what you said in this next episode, I think Kenna and Olivia are going to become BFFs because Kenna's going to feel like she can't really be close to Mary.
Right.
So, and then that's going to happen. And then Olivia will probably get sacrificed or something, die. And then the king's going to come back and not have broken it off with his other mistress, Bash's mother. And Kenna's going to be all down and out and want like to cry on Mary's shoulder, and you know, then it's gonna turn into this like thing where Mary's gonna try to win back her honor, be like, Francis, help her, like your father ruined her.
I have an idea. Kenna becomes the mistress for Francis.
No!
Oh my God! Whoa!
What a slut!
Which, mind you, I've been messing up their names all night long. So sorry, guys. I'm like, why don't it's like blonde versus brunettes right now. With Olivia and Mary and
I was like, in this room? Like,
Oh, and then
I'm
yeah,
losing.
I mean, there's so many blondes and brunettes. Bash and Francis, blonde and brunette.
yeah, it's like the battle of the bees and the bees.
the bees and the bees. Well, I want the oh God.
Yeah, see, you can't because
I can't even cheer for the blondes in this case.
because it's like you have a skin.
I just want the brunettes to win. I hate that I'm saying it, but I do. I want Bash and well, I don't want Bash to be with Mary, but I want them to come out on top.
Maybe they will.
Yeah. Well, we all know Francis is gonna die eventually, so he's gonna lose in the end. He is. It's history, and they said in episode 1.
Right, but it was a prediction.
It's a prediction by Nostradamus. So I don't know.
Well then,
They're not really following history, but
no.
well,
I mean, he has time to die.
Yeah, it's only episode 5.
okay, that about wraps it up for us. We better cut ourselves off before we keep going on. Where can we find you guys?
You can find me at Fahnia Thomas on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Phil?
Oh, well, you can find me here at AfterBuzz TV. I do various shows. Ironically enough, they tend to be these kind of soap opera-ish. I do revenge. South Park is a little bit unrelated in that
Very
scope. Shark Tank, and yeah, just follow all the other shows here at AfterBuzz on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff.
And you guys can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at KeetinM33, and also on other AfterBuzz shows. I do Nashville. I do Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. You'll see me on Once Upon a Time every once in a while. And Kardashians is done for now, so
That's
done.
a soap opera and a half.
Oh gosh, exhausting. But thank you guys so much for listening.
Woo! Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.